In the world of whiskey, there are bottles hailed as masterpieces, but there are also those that exist solely for their low price and convenience. When looking at the liquor shelf, how do you know which is a worthwhile choice and which is just a mass-produced, bland blend? Today we're ranking famous whiskeys, from the most disappointing names to those that actually start delivering real flavor. And the story begins with the bottom spot of the ranking. Top 1. Black Velvet. Launched in 1951, Black Velvet quickly became one of the most familiar names in the budget whiskey segment. However, its reputation doesn't come from refinement or complexity in flavor, but from its ability to be produced on a massive scale at an extremely accessible price point. In many stores, you'll see it in large plastic bottles, aimed directly at those who want a simple and economical spirit. When poured, Black Velvet offers a light caramel scent, along with a bit of a harsh bite on the finish. It's worth noting that this sting is sometimes stronger than its 40% alcohol content might suggest. However, after the first few sips, many begin to realize that the flavor profile is quite simple and lacks depth. This is the kind of whiskey designed not to offend anyone, but it also rarely leaves anyone truly impressed. It feels more like a product optimized by numbers and production costs than by the art of distillation. And that raises an interesting question. Will the next spots in the ranking be any better? Top 2. Rich and Rare. In the next spot is a familiar name in the budget whiskey segment. This is a blended whiskey that often appears on the lowest shelves of the store, where buyers look for a simple bottle at an extremely accessible price. This very price point has helped it sell in massive quantities over the years. When poured into a glass, the first thing you notice is almost nothing stands out. There's no signature rye spice, no depth from oak, just a faint hint of light vanilla. The flavor appears very quickly, but disappears almost immediately before you can even identify what you just tasted. The texture of the spirit is quite thin, almost as light as water. Sometimes it feels more like drinking a neutral grain spirit than a whiskey carefully aged in wooden barrels. This doesn't make it a terrible bottle, but it's also very hard to call it memorable. And when a whiskey leaves no impression after drinking, does it really serve any purpose on the liquor shelf? Top 3. Canadian Mist. Canadian Mist appeared in 1967 with a very clear promise: to create a lighter whiskey compared to traditional types. It sounds appealing, but in the world of whiskey, light sometimes also means too little flavor. The multiple distillation process of this spirit is marketed as a strength. However, in reality, distilling multiple times also removes most of the bold characteristics of the grain and oak. When poured, you can sense a bit of brown sugar, a bit of vanilla, but it's all quite faint. What makes many people remember Canadian Mist is not the richness of flavor, but the hollow feeling after drinking. The finish is short and quite bland, sometimes described as a dry sensation similar to wet paper. Because of this, many people only truly enjoy it when mixed with soda or ginger ale. But if a whiskey needs so many additions to be drinkable, is it really a memorable bottle? Top 4. Seagram's VO. For a long time, Seagram's VO was a symbol of luxury. Born in 1913 to celebrate a special occasion in the founding family, this bottle quickly became a familiar choice in many prestigious bars. For decades, it was served to businessmen, guests at grand parties, and those who wanted to enjoy a whiskey considered refined. Its reputation was tied to the image of classic bars and polished wood shelves. But over time, things changed. After many shifts in the spirits industry, the VO blend gradually lost the elements that once made it special. Today, when poured, you can still sense some soft caramel and a very light spice, but it's all quite muted. It can be said that VO is still a reliable bottle, but the question is that consistency enough to maintain the aura of a legend that was once highly respected? Top 5. Canadian Club 1858. Canadian Club 1858 is one of the names with the longest history on this list. Its reputation comes not only from its flavor, but also from its special place in bar culture and the stories surrounding it. In the past, this bottle was famously smuggled across borders during the Prohibition era and became a popular choice for many businessmen. Its image has appeared in many movies and stories about classic bars. However, when focusing purely on the flavor in the glass, things aren't as impressive as the stories surrounding it. The spirit tends to be dry, a bit harsh at the front, and lacks the complexity that many expect. You'll see it appearing a lot behind bars, usually used in cocktails or highballs. But if you're looking for depth or the bold flavor of rye, you might have to look at higher spots in the ranking. Top 6. Crown Royal Deluxe. This is perhaps the most recognizable whiskey on the entire list. The iconic purple velvet bag makes Crown Royal Deluxe look like a luxury gift even before you open the bottle. Created in 1939 for a royal visit, this brand quickly became one of the most famous names on the market. Many people, upon seeing the purple velvet bag, immediately think of premium quality. But inside the bottle is a blend of many different whiskies created to produce an easy drinking flavor that appeals to the masses. Vanilla, caramel, and a hint of light sweetness are what you typically sense. The spirit is very smooth, with almost no sharp edges. That makes it easy to drink, but it also makes it lack its own character. And many people are Top 7. 40 Creek Copper Pot. This is the turning point of the ranking. After many rather bland bottles in the previous spots, 40 Creek Copper Pot begins to give the impression that whiskey can be much more interesting. Developed by a winemaker with a background in the wine industry, this whiskey uses a different method. Instead of blending all the grains from the start, each grain is aged separately before being combined. This detail isn't just technical, it's the reason why the spirit has a much clearer depth. When tasting, you can sense notes of toffee, dried fruit, and a bit of spice like baked goods. The texture of the spirit is fuller and provides a more well-rounded feel compared to the bottles below it. For the first time on the list, you truly feel like you're drinking a whiskey with personality. And this is also the moment where the ranking begins to shift. Through the first bottles in the ranking, we can see one thing very clearly. In the world of whiskey, reputation and price don't always accurately reflect the quality in the glass. Some bottles exist thanks to history, some thanks to branding, but only a few truly deliver a memorable flavor. And in the next spots, the story of bold and character-filled whiskies truly begins. If you like rankings like this,